All right, everybody, welcome back for another deep dive with me. Today we're talking about something pretty amazing. I think you guys are going to be really into this one.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
We are talking about the Nazca Lines.
Yes, the Nazca Lines.
And if you don't know what those are, we're going to get into them.
We are.
Basically, they're massive, massive geoglyphs out in the Peruvian desert. And they're so big, you can only really see them from the air.
Right.
And so it begs the question, like, what were they doing? What was the point of these things?
What was the point?
And we're going to try and get into some of the theories that are out there as to what their purpose was.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting theories about the Nazca Lines. They are a mystery in many ways.
So the source material we're working with today is a snippet from another podcast that we found, which is interesting. They're going through a lot of the different theories.
Yeah, and they're kind of going through them pretty rapidly.
They are. So we're going to try and sort of pick that apart and see what we think. So first of all, like I said, these lines are huge. They cover like 80 kilometers of desert.
That's incredible. Yeah, 80 kilometers.
Right. And it's not just like one line. It's tons and tons of lines all over the place.
All different shapes.
Yeah.
All kinds of things, animals and lines and
There are all sorts of things, some that look like runways, some that are
runways. Yeah, that's right.
hummingbirds.
Hummingbirds, spiders.
Spiders, flowers.
It's really incredible what they managed to do.
And they did all of this with like basically sticks and ropes, right?
Yeah, they didn't have bulldozers.
It's just crazy.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible that they were able to make these things with the technology they had at the time. It's centuries ago, and they're still there.
And they're still there, and they're pretty precise.
Yeah.
So, like, what are some of the main theories that people are putting forward about why they made these things in the first place?
Well, one theory is that they were meant to be seen by the gods. They're so big that you can only really appreciate them from the air, so maybe they were trying to send a message to the heavens.
Like an offering or something?
Yeah, an offering or a way to communicate with the gods.
And, that makes sense, because a lot of ancient cultures were very focused on the stars.
Yeah, they were.
And the sky and, appeasing the gods.
Right.
So that's one theory. What else? What other theories have you come across?
Well, another theory is that they're a kind of astronomical calendar or star chart.
Okay.
The Nazca people were really good astronomers. They could predict solstices and equinoxes with amazing accuracy.
Yeah, and I was reading that the lines themselves seem to align with certain constellations and celestial events.
Right, and so maybe they were using the lines to track the seasons or to predict eclipses or things like that.
So almost like a giant astronomical textbook laid out on the ground.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it.
It is.
And then, of course, you can't talk about the Nazca Lines without talking about aliens.
Right, of course aliens have to come into it at some point.
Right. Some people believe that the lines were actually landing strips for alien spaceships.
Okay, so I've heard that one before.
Yeah.
And then there's also the theory that maybe they were trying to signal to aliens in some
Right,
way.
like, hey, we're down here kind of thing.
Right.
I don't know how much evidence there is to support that theory, though.
Yeah, it's fun to think about, but it does seem a little far-fetched.
A little bit.
Like if aliens were advanced enough to travel through space, you'd think they'd have better navigation systems than just some lines on the ground.
You'd think so, right?
Yeah. So aliens, probably not. But what about the Nazca people themselves?
Yeah.
What can we learn about them from these lines?
I think, the Nazca Lines tell us that the Nazca people were very connected to their environment and to the cosmos. I mean, they put so much time and effort and artistry into creating these things.
And they must have had a lot of people working together too, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. It would have taken a huge amount of planning and collaboration to pull this off.
So it says something about their society and their ability to organize large-scale projects.
It really does, yeah.
It's fascinating.
Yeah, and I think it also shows that they had a deep understanding of astronomy and mathematics and geometry.
Right. I mean, you don't just accidentally create perfectly straight lines that go on for miles and miles.
Exactly, yeah. There was definitely a lot of thought and knowledge that went into these designs.
So, okay, we've gone through a bunch of the theories about the Nazca Lines.
Yeah.
But honestly, do we know for sure what they were for?
Sadly, we don't know.
No.
It's still a mystery.
That's what makes it so interesting.
It is.
Right? Like, we can look at these things and come up with all sorts of ideas, but we may never know for sure what the Nazca people had in mind.
And I think that's part of the beauty of it. It leaves room for our imagination to run wild.
It does. It does. And I think that's a good place to leave it for today.
Yeah.
We've gone pretty deep on the Nazca Lines. So
Yeah.
what do you guys think? What do you think the purpose of these lines was? Let us know.
Yeah, leave a comment down below.
Until next time, stay curious.
See you next time.